ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्यति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वत देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम। हरि ओम तत्सत। Hare Krishna, welcome everybody to this nice discussion which we are going to have as far as the internal discussion of or the internal significance of Deepavali is concerned. Very, very happy that all of us, all of you especially, have taken out time right before the Deepavali festival to prepare your consciousness, to prepare our consciousness with regards to this most famous festival, which is in many ways eternal and being celebrated since time immemorial. In today's discussion, we are just going to discuss the various aspects of Deepavali, the various pastimes of the Lord connected to Deepavali, the significance or the internal significance of Deepavali in our lives. Is it just a ritual? Does it just mean bursting crackers, eating sweetmeats? Or does it have a deeper significance in our life? And ultimately, what is the message we have for ourselves for this Deepavali? The word Deepavali basically means a multitude of lamps or a beautiful arrangement of lamps. There is a very nice statement in the Vedic literature. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. I don't want to go towards darkness and I want to go towards light. In fact, the whole spiritual life or the whole purpose of life is to find a meaning to life. Live life in such a way so that everything around us becomes meaningful, purposeful. We see some purpose of life. We see some meaning of life. We see some deep connection of our existence with God. That is the whole purpose of life. So the whole aspect of Vedic literature or the whole direction towards which the Vedas guide us is Brahma Jigyasa. They say that now that you have got this human form of life, please, please, please use it for understanding who you are, what is your connection with the Supreme, and how can you rekindle that or feel that love, that ecstatic consciousness of your service with the Supreme. So Deepavali is one such festival where basically it is a genuine, sincere offering of our heart to the Lord, to Krishna, and trying to welcome not just the Lord, but also his devotees in our heart. That is the actual devotional significance of Deepavali. Deepavali, as it is celebrated in the Holy Land of India, is a 5-day festival. The 5-day festivals begin with day 1, which is called as Dhanteras, or some people also call it as Lakshmi Puja, etc. The Dhanteras is the day when one of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dhanvantari, had appeared out of the ocean when the ocean was being churned. And Dhanvantari is, the godfather of all medicine science, or he is the god of all medicine science. Also on the same day, Mother Lakshmi had appeared from the ocean. So Dhanteras, Dhan Trayodashi, or the Trayodashi date on which Dhanvantari, Lord Dhanvantari appeared, or Mother Lakshmi appeared, that is also celebrated in various ways. People who are demoniac, they are very much fond of the material energy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Daivi hi esha gunamai, mama maya duratyaya, mame vaye prapadyante, maya metam tarantite. Krishna is saying that this divine energy of mine, comprising the 3 modes of material nature, is impossible or very difficult to overcome. But those who surrender only to me, they can easily cross beyond it. So Deepavali, day 1, is actually meant for worshipping Sita Ram, Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or even one of the incarnations of the Lord, such as Lord Dhanvantari. But people who are bewildered by Maya, or who are bewildered by the material energy of the Lord, the aim of whose life is sense gratification, unfortunately, they think that only worshipping Lakshmi is the goal of life. They do not know that Lakshmi is very chanchala. She does not stay in one place. And so therefore, the only result of worshipping Lakshmi is that maybe you will get some benediction from Mother Lakshmi, but ultimately there is no guarantee whether your future generations will have it or not. And even we see that the richest of the rich people of the world, they are spiritually starving and they are looking for happiness all the time. So Lakshmi doesn't lead to contentment. However, worshipping Lakshmi along with Narayan leads to complete fulfillment. There are some people who, on the day of Deepavali, worship Mother Kali. That is also a little something which I at least find difficult to understand. Traditionally, Mother Kali was worshipped by the tantrics or by those meat eaters of the society who were not accepted in the society, who had to go into a deep forest on a day of Amavasya and sacrifice an animal, chanting a mantra that, my dear animal, I'm sacrificing you in this life. Or now, just for the sake of my tongue, taste, you have the full right to sacrifice me later. These kind of mantras they had to chant and do. Or the dacoits, the thieves and the dacoits, before going on a mission to loot someone, they used to worship Mother Kali. Kali is that form of nature, material nature, Mother Nature, which is very, very dangerous, which is very, very angry, and which is very, very destructive. It is mentioned in the scriptures that once Mother Nature or Mother Kali became so angry because of the atheistic tendency of the Jivatmas, people, how ungrateful they were to God, that she thought that there's no hope for such people. Just like we see, even now, people have hardcore atheism, the rugged individualism. They break all the laws of the scriptures, and they also exploit the nature and its resources. So we see how the nature strikes back. The nature strikes back in form of flood. The nature strikes back in form of famine. droughts, pestilence, different waves of corona, and the nature swipes out the evil population from the planet. We all know the horrors of the Second World War. If you want a very, very crisp definition of Mother Kali or the influence of Mother Kali, probably the Third World War could be a very nice, crisp description of Mother Kali in action, when she's so much frustrated by the living entities that even after giving a repeated number of times to take to devotional service, they have not taken. They are just doing sense gratification. They are breaking all the laws of the scriptures. Despite the presence of acharyas, despite the presence of their teaching, they're not taking to it. And they are just going on exploiting the resources of material nature. So Mother Kali takes up a very, very fierce form. And then she goes on a killing spree. But then Lord Shiva continues to be merciful even at that time. He doesn't give up hope. He knows that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, has a plan. He will never give up on his part and parcels. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manaha Shashthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshit. So Krishna is saying that these living entities are my eternal fragmental parts and parcels. So he never gives up on them. So inspired by the Leela Shakti of the Lord Shiva goes and lies down on the ground, and Mother Kali accidentally steps on Lord Shiva's chest, which according to the Vedic tradition is not considered to be very nice. And so she, realizing her mistake, stops her killing spree and laments or feels a little embarrassed by taking out her tongue. So Kali is formed with a chopper in which she is in a frenzy, lack of composure, going on a killing spree, destroying things. There are some unfortunate people who worship that form also on the day of Deepavali. But according to Mother Kali is not a form which gentlemen will worship. She is a very angry form of the material nature. So actually, coming back to the 5-day celebration of Deepavali, it starts with Dhanteras, where we please Lakshmi Narayana, where we please Lord Dhanvantari. Although this material body, in the language of Srila Prabhupada, is a bad bargain, in order to make best use of the bad bargain, when somebody gets this human form of life, they have to maintain it in a proper way, so that they can focus and achieve the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that one who eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or sleeps too little, can never be a yogi. So we need to become yogis in Krishna consciousness. And in order to become yogi, it is very essential to have good health. We need to have good physical health. We need to have good mental health. We need to have good emotional health. We need to have good intellectual health. And we need to have good spiritual health also. So Dhanvantari, although this is the world of birth and death, but he helps us by providing us some inputs in the way in which we can take care of this human body and be very grateful to him, and then practice a simple living, high thinking style and dedicate our life to the service of God. Similarly, Mother Lakshmi, the whole world is charmed by her. Once she shows a little bit of benediction on someone, that person on whom she shows the benediction becomes important. And the whole world worships such a person. But the Bhagavad Gita says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruvanitir Matir. Wherever there is Krishna, the supreme mystic, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, the devotee of Krishna, at that place there will be extraordinary power, morality, victory, and opulence. So one of the secrets of being opulent is to be a devotee of Lord Krishna. And devotees of Lord Krishna, they don't even want that opulence for themselves, because the real opulence of someone is to use all their opulence in the service of Krishna. So that is the significance of Dhanteras. That is the significance where we say that my entire life belongs to you, my opulence belongs to you, my wealth belongs to you, my family belongs to you. That is the mood of the first day of celebration of Deepavali, which is the Dhanteras. The second day is very nicely known as, especially in South India, it's called as Naraka Chaturdashi. Naraka Chaturdashi is the day where Lord Krishna showed his supreme opulence and supreme Bhaktvatsal nature by killing his own son called Narakasur. So there is a very nice chapter in the Krishna book, also in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This Narakasur was the son which Lord Krishna had with Mother Earth. When Lord Krishna, in the form of Varahadev, was lifting the earth from the depths of Garbhodak ocean, at that time, Mother Earth had become pregnant, or at that time, Mother Earth had become surcharged with the potency of the Lord, and that led to the birth of a very nice boy who later on became Narkasur because of bad association with Banasur and other such demons. So this is a proof that even if you are the son of God, or even if you belong to the family of God, or even if you are in direct association with God, if you do not deliberately, individually, spontaneously, and voluntarily engage in the service of the Lord under the guidance of the previous acharyas, with a desire to please Krishna, devoid of the tinges of karma and jnana, there is a very good chance that in the material world one may end up being a demon also. So this Narkasur, he was the ruler of Prag Jyotishpur, which is the present day Assam. In fact, the capital of Narkasur is still there, called as Tejpur in Assam. He was a very, very powerful personality, obviously, son of Mother Earth and Varahadev. Bhumi Devi was his mother. So he went around all over the universe and capturing everybody. He went to the Swargaloka, stole the parasol or the umbrella of Lord Indra. He stole the earrings which Mother Aditi was wearing, the mother of all the demigods. And then he stole a peak of the Sumeru mountain. The whole Sumeru mountain is made out of gold. He uplifted an entire peak of the mountain, which was completely made of gold. And he brought it to the capital, Pragjyotishpur. So Lord Indra went to Lord Krishna at that time and complained. Lord Krishna knew that it's time to show justice. Lord Krishna is such a personality that even if his own son crosses the line of dharma, he doesn't hesitate to punish his own son. That's why it's said that Krishna is not partial to anybody. He doesn't hate anyone, and he gives everybody a situation in which they can become his devotees. Sometimes people blame that Lord Krishna is a little partial. He only takes side of the demigods. He does not listen to, he always kills the demons. No. In fact, his killing of the demons is his mercy upon him, upon them. When he says, Man mana bhava mad bhakto, madhyaji mam namaskuru, mam evaishyasi satyam te pratijani priyosime. When he says in the Bhagavad Gita that become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, always think of me and worship me, he doesn't say that only demigods should do this or only humans should do this. This is a statement open to all. Even any demon, the best of the demons is Prahlad Maharaj or even Bali Maharaj. They took up to this advice, and you see how glorious they became. Krishna uplifted them. So Krishna is openly telling to everybody that anybody who takes his shelter will be protected, maintained, and will be given abhaya from all sorts of spiritual and material calamities. In fact, Krishna is very impartial to allow everybody to come in the arena of his partiality. That is Krishna Bhakti. However, earlier he had promised Bhumi Devi that he will not, Krishna had sensed that there is some kind of evil nature present in Naraka due to his bad association. So he had promised and that I will not kill him until you tell me to kill him. So Satyabhama, Bhumi Devi is an expansion of Satyabhama. So when Krishna was coming towards Pragjyotishpur, on the Narak Chaturdashi day, which people normally called as Choti Deepavali, Dhanteras, Choti Deepavali, Badi Deepavali. After Badi Deepavali comes Govardhan Puja, and after Govardhan Puja comes Bhai Dooj. So this is the 5-day celebration of Deepavali, starting with Dhanteras, that is on the Trayodashi, Naraka Chaturdashi, which is on the Chaturdashi day, also known as Choti Deepavali. The Badi Deepavali, we all know, the famous return of Lord Ram and the Damodar Leela happened then. And then Govardhan Leela happened on the day after Deepavali, and finally Bhai Dooj. So this is the 5 days which are celebrated. So when Krishna was coming towards Pragyotishpur, Bhagavatam has full description. I don't want to get into full details. I want to just extract the essence of this pastime. He enters, and there is a various attack on him by automated weapons, various layers of protection. It is very detailedly mentioned which layer of protection was broken by which weapon of Krishna. Finally, a 5-headed demon called Mura came, and Krishna killed him also. And then ultimately Narakasur came out. And then he was fighting with his own father. Krishna was tolerating him. Krishna could have killed him in one shot, but he was tolerating him, giving him chances, allowing him to live. But then when he grew extremely disrespectful, then Satyabhama herself told that kill him at once. When Satyabhama, whose expansion is Mother Bhumi, when Satyabhama told that now you kill him, at that time he just took his Sudarshan Chakra and killed Narakasur. And then Bhumi Devi appeared. She brought Bhagadatta, the son of Narakasur, in one way the grandson of Krishna. And she told that now that you have killed Narakasur, don't chastise him, he's very afraid of you. Krishna gives him abhayam. And then finally enters the palace of Narakasura, where all kinds of riches are there. And Narakasura, another problem which he had created was he had captured 16,100 young maidens, young girls, and had kept in his prison house to exploit them. Now, in the Vedic culture, if a woman is even touched by another man, she cannot be married to someone else except the man who has encountered her or courted her. Since they had been kidnapped from their father's houses by this demon, so they, even if the demon would release them, they had no place to go. So when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, along with Satyabhama, entered the palace, description of his entry is given. How he's lotus-eyed and wearing pitambar. The skin complexion is like a freshly formed lotus cloud. I don't know why the phone is ringing. I'll just silence the phone 1 minute. Yes. So as he entered, the description is like it was as if a dark cloud, a freshly formed monsoon cloud with some lightning in it. That's how imagine a freshly formed monsoon cloud, and from behind you are seeing a lightning. So that was the first appearance of Lord Krishna as he entered the palace. Everybody recognized him, the lotus-eyed one, the most beautiful, the last word in beauty, the most handsome personality of Godhead is coming. And all the ladies, the 16,100 maidens, they immediately decided that he is our savior. He's our maintainer. And even without his permission, even without his formal acceptance, they surrendered their lives to him. And then they all appealed to him that we have no other shelter except you. There is no other place where we can go except you. And there is nobody who can understand us except you. And there is nobody who can actually accept us except you. So they all surrendered to Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna, giving high importance to his Bhaktvatsal nature, again became conquered by the love and devotion of these 16,100 princesses, and then he accepted them as his wives. So therefore, in this way, Lord Krishna had 16,108 wives. Later on, it is said on the Narka Chaturdashi day only, he put them in 16,100 palanquins and dispatched them to Dwarka. After that, he sat on the Garuda with Satyabhama, went to the Swargaloka, handed over the parasol or the umbrella, handed over the earrings of Mother Aditi, and also the peak of the Sumeru mountain. So that is the pastime which has taken place on Naraka Chaturdashi. It signifies how just the Lord is, how innocent the process of bhakti is. Even at the time of death, if Narakasura would have taken shelter of Lord Krishna would have accepted him as his eternal devotee. Anybody can please Krishna. It does not require any special qualification. But even if you are the son of God, but if you transgress the laws of eternal religion, don't think that God is going to favor you. He is equal to everybody. Samaham sarva bhuteshu. He is equal to everybody. So this is the pastime which takes place on Naraka Chaturdashi, and people, especially in South India, they celebrate it in a traditional way. Victory of justice over evil, victory of good over evil, and they remember the aspect how Krishna gave shelter to the 16,100 princes who were kidnapped by Narakasura. How everybody, if a father kills his own son, nobody will like it. But if the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, kills his own son, it will be worshipped. So that is how sweet the pastimes of Krishna are. And in the other parts of India, it is celebrated as Choti Deepavali. And then comes the Badi Deepavali, which is actually the festival which happens on the day of Amavasya. And it is very, very famous for two incidents which take place on the day of Badi Deepavali. First is the return of Lord Ram back from his exile. And the second is the Damodar Leela which happens. Let's discuss slightly both of them to understand the internal significance of Deepavali and prepare our mood for Deepavali. So we all know, due to some divine will of the Lord, Lord Ram was banished into the forest for 14 years. 13 years were passing by. But in the 14th year, Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravana. And then Ram Yuddha happened, and ultimately Ravana was killed. So the reason why Ravana was killed, because he was too attached. Ravana was coming from a nice family. He was from a Brahmanical family. But because he was too attached to his senses, he was too much attached to sense gratification. And because he was not, many people advised him that you should not mess with Lord Ram. You should not, kidnap the wife of Lord Ram. Vibhishana told him, Marich told him, even Kumbhakarna before his death, he told him, Mandodari told him, but he couldn't listen. So the intelligence gets clouded when we are attached to sense gratification and when we are not humble. I repeat, intelligence gets clouded when we are attached to sense gratification and when we are not humble. There's a very nice verse in Bhagavad Gita which says how intelligence gets clouded. Which says, Dhyayato Vishya Pumsa, Sangasteshu Pajayate, Sangat Sanjayate Kamat, Kamat Krodha Vijayate. Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha, Sammohat Smriti Vibhramaha, Smriti Bhramshad Buddhi Nasho, Buddhi Nashad Vinashyati. When somebody is attached to the senses, then that leads to attachment to the object of the senses. That leads to lust. Lust can never be satisfied, so it leads to wrath or anger. Anger leads to bewilderment. Bewilderment leads to loss of memory, and loss of memory means you forget what is the purpose of your life, and then that leads to loss of intelligence, which means you lose the ability to discriminate between right and wrong, and then you become so sinful that you're ready to kidnap the consort of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Lord Ram's wife, Mother Sita. So that was the basic problem of Ravana, and he was killed. But Deepavali is not about killing Ravana. Deepavali is about return of Lord Ram. Even before Lord Ram had killed Ravan, there was a great personality whom the Bhagavatam says is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Happens to be his brother, known as Bharata. Bharata practiced his devotion in a climate of criticism. He practiced bhakti, rendered devotional service in a climate of lack of appreciation, in a climate of doubt. As soon as Bharat came back from his maternal grandfather's house, everybody doubted him. Everybody thought that it is he who is involved in the banishment of Lord Ram. Lakshmana doubted him. The whole population of Ayodhya doubted him. Even his guru doubted him. His father doubted him. Now, it is very difficult to practice dharma where there is no encouragement, where there is constant criticism, where there is no appreciation, where there is only chastisement. But love is beyond all these things. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Pragadh premerae swabhave achar nij dukh vignadi na kare vichar. The symptom of unmotivated, uninterrupted, and unconditional love is that the lover continues serving the beloved, that is the Supreme Lord, despite all kinds of difficulties, misunderstandings, calamities, misapprehensions, controversies, whatever may be the situation in life, impediments, the service never stops. That is the meaning of unconditional service. So in a place called Chitrakoot, if you will go, you will find the place where Ram and Bharat are meeting each other. There is a small spot where the stones have melted. The love was so intense that the place where they were standing, the footprints of both got embossed into rocks. That was the degree of love which they had for each other. Whenever a devotee of the Lord, or whenever anybody develops ecstatic sentiments for the Lord, uncontaminated, unadulterated, pure love for the Lord, then such kind of physical transformations are visible. Even Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, when he faced separation from Jagannath, he kept running. He started running to Alarnath. And in Alarnath, there is a very beautiful deity of Lord Vishnu, handsome, 400, broad chest, thin waist, beautiful face, raised nose, broad smile. And as soon as Lord Chaitanya saw that deity of Vishnu, he offered his obeisances. and the platform or the stone on which he offered his obeisances melted, and his entire bodily form melted into the stone. Even on the Govardhan hill, whenever Krishna used to feel ecstatic love for the gopis or for his friends, there are various spots where you see footprints of Krishna, footprints of his hand. There's another place in the Jharikhanda forest where Lord Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya, was so much ecstatic chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, that he made the animals dance. A tiger was sleeping as he was chanting and dancing, going with Balabhadra Bhattacharya, his personal servant. The dense forest, tiger was sleeping. Lord Chaitanya slapped the tiger and he said, chant Hare Krishna. So the tiger stood up on two legs and started chanting Hare Krishna. Then the deer started chanting Hare Krishna. The rhinoceros started chanting Hare Krishna. The bear started chanting Hare Krishna. The deer was embracing the tiger and the tiger was embracing the deer. Even Narad Muni came there. There is an impression. So even if you go to that place, it's still there. In the depth of the forest, next to a waterfall, there is a spot where very supernaturally there are footsteps of deer, in the stone, embossed, melted, footsteps of deer, footsteps of elephants, footsteps of tigers, footsteps of buffaloes, footsteps of a very, very large snake, meters long, and the place where Narad Muni kept his veena. So whenever there is display of ecstatic love of God, even stones melt, even birds cry, even animals sing and dance Hare Krishna. So no doubt, it's not so difficult to understand that when Ram and Bharat were embracing each other, their footprints got embossed in that place in Chitrakoot. It's a very, very holy place. Devotees can try to go there. And Bharat was trying to convince Lord Ram that you please come, but he was not coming. Instead, he gave his padukas, his slippers, wooden slippers. And Bharata didn't go back to Ayodhya. Just outside Ayodhya, there is another village called Nandigram, where he made a Parna Kutir, not as opulent as Lord Ram, but even lesser than that. And from there, he was managing and administering the Ayodhya kingdom. This is the proof that there is no difference between the Lord and his paraphernalia. Any question Bharata had, he used to ask the sandals, the paduka. Any report which he had to give it to the paduka. Any advice which he wanted. Now, sometimes people would come with some questions like, should I marry my daughter to this person or not? Bharata, in order to avoid them, he used to say, go and ask Lord Ram's paduka. And when the Ayodhya Vasis on the direction of Bharat used to go and ask Lord Ram's paduka, answer used to come. So there's no difference between the Lord and his paduka, because the Lord is absolute. That's why Srila Prabhupada keeps explaining that there's no difference between the Lord and his holy name. Spiritual realization or bhava or prema means to understand that there is no difference between Krishna and his holy name. When I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, I am with Krishna. That is the meaning of Krishna consciousness. And the more we realize it, the more advanced we become. So Bharata used to stay there, matted hair, wearing tree bark. He used to drink only cow urine. And sometimes when he felt hungry, he used to mix some grains, soak it in cow urine and eat that. That was the level of austerities which he was performing. And people of Ayodhya, even after seeing so much love in separation for Lord Ram, because of their own suffering which they were going through, they could not appreciate Bharat's bhakti. It is said that when Ayodhya Vasis used to get up and they used to realize, oh, I'm still alive, and there is another day which I have to live in the absence of Lord Ram, and in that crying separation, when they used to go to have bath and see Bharat also having bath at the Saryu river, they used to pick up stones and hit Bharat. And Bharata used to not criticize them. He used to not say that I am the king and I'll punish you. He used to understand their sentiments. And this was the mood in which Bharata was serving. So Bharata had taken a promise at Chitrakoot that after 14 years you have to return. So therefore, Lord Ram, after killing Ravan and collecting Mother Sita, He immediately boarded the Pushpak Viman, and before going to Ayodhya, he stopped at Nandigram. And there, at Nandigram also, there is a very nice place. There is a pool, which people say it is created out of the tears of Lord Ram and Bharat. Again, he met Bharat there. And then from there, a palanquin was brought, and standing on the palanquin, Lord Ram was taken to Ayodhya. And in that way, because it was an Amavasya day, the people of Ayodhya, they were so happy. They were so happy that words cannot explain them. You know what? What is the difference between the citizens of Ayodhya and people like me? People of Ayodhya, they clearly know that their grief is due to separation from the Lord. Their grief is due to bereavement from the Lord. However, people like me, who are less intelligent, impious, and demons, we cannot recognize such kind of. I'm also, having all the problems in my life are due to separation from the Lord, bereavement from the Lord. But I'm very slow to recognize the root cause of my problems, and I try to hide my existential emptiness, my existential crisis, by trying to accelerate my pursuit for name, fame, wealth, enjoyment, entertainment, power, position, etc., etc. This is the difference between the people of Ayodhya and people like me. People of Ayodhya clearly knew that there's no point trying to accelerate the pursuit of name and fame, money, strength, intelligence, education, beauty. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radhokshje ahaitukya pratihata yatma suprasidati. The people of Ayodhya clearly understood that we want complete total satisfaction of our heart, and that is only possible by dedicating our life to the service of Lord Ram, simply for the pleasure of Lord Ram. So therefore, for 14 years, their lives, or the whole of Ayodhya, was like a desert. It is said that in their house, which used to be very simple mud thatched houses, from the floor, creepers were growing, but they didn't bother to cut it also, because they were so much busy remembering Lord Ram. So these people, when Lord Ram was returning, they saw that their life is coming back. Just like a person who's on the verge of death, when he gets his health back. Similarly, these people, they were getting their life and soul back when they saw Lord Ram. And they thought that how can we welcome him in our life? Our life was full of darkness. Our life was full of sorrow. Our life was full of bereavement. Our life was full of neglect and ignorance in the absence of Lord Ram. Now, even if it is Amavasya, even if it is a night time where the Lord is arriving, Lord's arrival dispels all darkness. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andhakar. Jahan Krishna, tahan nahi Maya Radhikar. Wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Ram, there is no kind of darkness, either spiritual darkness or material darkness. So the people of Ayodhya, they decorated the whole city with lamps. They decorated their houses. In order to please the Lord, they decorated themselves also. They cleaned their houses. It was basically welcoming the Lord back in their hearts. Everywhere where Lord Ram went, people were saying, please come to my house. This house is yours. My family is yours. My wealth is yours. My life is yours. This is the internal significance of Deepavali. The genuine, sincere offering of our heart in the mood of devotional service to Lord Krishna is the internal significance of Deepavali. And this is only happening, this only happens when we welcome the Lord in our heart. And not just the Lord, but also his devotees. This is the internal significance of Deepavali. Words cannot describe the festival of joy and the festival of devotional ecstasy which the Ayodhya Vasis were experiencing when Lord Ram returned to Ayodhya. Next morning, Vasishtha shaved him up because he had also matted hair, Lord Ram in the jungle. So he shaved him up and then bathed him up, and then Pattabhishekam, the very nice 24 elements of the Shringar was done, and he was coronated as Raja Ram. So this is one of the significances of Deepavali. Deepavali signifies genuinely and sincerely offering our entire existence in the mood of devotional service to Krishna. Manasa deho geho je kichu more, arpilo tua pade nand kishore. My mind, my body, my wealth, my family, my entire existence, I'm offering to you, my Lord. Whatever I have, I offer to you. This is the internal significance of Deepavali. On the same day of Deepavali, Krishna also enacted a very, very wonderful pastime. It is commonly known as Damodar Leela. Everybody knows this. So I will not go in full detail describing the Damodar Leela, because that is a separate seminar in itself. But again, I will extract the essence of Damodar Leela. The same Lord, as Ramchandra, did this pastime of returning back. The happiness which we feel in our life in the association of selfless sadhus, the happiness which we feel when we get the mercy of the Lord, and in the core of our heart when we realize that we do not deserve that mercy, the gratitude which we feel to the Lord when we understand how abominable my past was and how some great devotees of the Lord have lifted me up from an abominable situation and placed me or given me an opportunity to practice devotional service to Krishna. That happiness, that bliss, that feeling of shelter and protection under the lotus feet of the Lord, and that desire of offering our entire existence as gratitude simply for one moment of pleasure which the Lord may experience is called Deepavali. Similarly, on the day of Deepavali, the Lord, as Krishna, showed another aspect of his Bhaktavatsal nature. Mother Kunti remembers in the Srimad Bhagavatam, she's saying that even fear personified is afraid of Krishna. But I am so much bewildered just to see how this Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom fear personified is afraid, he is afraid of his mother, and he's running in Gokul, and his mother is chasing with him with a stick. He is the same personality who in the Bhagavad Gita says, Kalosmin ham, I am time and I have come to destroy everybody. And that personality is running out of fear. So very nicely, the second verse of Damodar Ashtakam describes this. Rudantam muhur netra yugmamrijantam karambhoja yugamena shatanka netram muhushvasa kampa trirekhanka kantha sthitagraivam damodaram bhakti badham. Queen Kunti is completely bewildered to visualize this Damodar Leela, where it is said that seeing the whipping stick in his mother's hand, Lord Krishna is crying and rubbing his eyes again and again. And the whole mascara and the kajal is getting spread all over. And what is he rubbing his eyes with? With his two soft lotus hands. His eyes are filled with fear. The necklace of pearls around his neck is like a conch shell and it is marked with 3 lines. So the necklace of pearls around his neck is shaking because of his quick breathing due to intense crying. To that Supreme Lord Damodara, whose belly is not bound with the ropes, but bound with his mother's pure love, I offer my humble obeisances. So Lord Krishna has broken the pot of yogurt which his mother was churning. And when Mother Yashoda was churning, she was singing the glories of Krishna. And meanwhile, Krishna was asleep in the bed, morning 4 a.m. She was feeling so much attached to Krishna, even in the physical, not in the physical proximity, even away from Krishna, she was so much absorbed in thinking about Krishna and churning the butter for Krishna with a desire to please Krishna, that her breast was overflowing with milk. This is also one symptom of spiritual ecstasy, which people of Kali Yuga cannot understand, maybe. But the Bhagavatam describes it. Even though our Gopal is sleeping, to taste that breast milk, he has got up and he comes. And then he stops the churning, which acharyas give various commentaries about. And then he starts drinking breast milk of Mother Yashoda on the day of Deepavali. But then there is another very special milk which has come from the most special cows, which is being boiled in the kitchen. And that milk is thinking that now today Krishna has started drinking Mother Yashoda's milk from the morning, and there is no chance that I will be used in his seva. What is the point of my life if I cannot use myself in Krishna's service? Let me commit suicide by overflowing out of the pot and burning into the fire of separation from Krishna. Now Mother Yashoda runs to protect the devotee of Krishna, which is that milk. The acharyas say that there are various reasons why Mother Yashoda went. One of the most prominent reasons is a devotee is very anxious to save the interest of the Lord. Mother Yashoda was thinking that my son is the prince of Gokul and everything in Gokul is his property. But he's so young, he does not know how to save his property. The milk is also his property. So she left the Lord aside and went to save the property of the Lord. Sometimes devotees do this. Of course, all this was inspired by the Leela Shakti of the Lord, where Mother Yashoda showed that the interest of Lord Krishna is more important than Krishna. The service to Lord Krishna is more important than Krishna himself. That's why when the devotees, even when the Lord is ready to give them all different kinds of liberation, the devotees ask, okay, you are calling me back home, back to Godhead, but do you have any seva for me? And if the Lord says, no seva, just come and hang around with me, devotee will say, I will not come. I will continue to stay here because here I am nicely engaged in the Harinam Sankirtan movement, in the association of your selfless, pure devotees, and I have a lot of service. My relationship with you is through my seva. Diyamanam na grananti vinamat sevanam jana. Without the seva of Lord Krishna, one does not even accept the most exalted position. And then, in order to, when Lord Krishna saw the ecstatic mood of Mother Yashoda, Lord Krishna's only job description is to intensify the love which his devotee has for him. So, in order to intensify the love of Mother Yashoda and show to the entire world how great is the love of Mother Yashoda, he enacted that pastime of breaking the yogurt pot and then feeding some yogurt to monkeys and then ultimately being chased by Mother Yashoda. And then from morning 6 a.m. till evening, Mother Yashoda is trying to bind Krishna. When Lord Krishna comes as Vamanadev, Chalayasi Vikramane Balimada Bhuda Vamana Padanakhanir Janita Bhavatapam Keshavadhrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare. So Vamandev comes in the garb of a small Brahmana. He takes the entire universe from Bali Maharaj. And in order to do that, the Bhagavatam describes that he expanded his body to such immeasurable, inconceivable status that with one step, he covered the earth and with the another step, he covered the rest of the universe. However, when that Supreme Personality of Godhead comes in his original form as Lord Krishna, he doesn't need to expand his body. Mother Yashoda was trying to tie his belly, which is described by Bhagavatam as big as the fist of Mother Yashoda. The rope was falling short by 2 fingers. Now she added another rope. 2 meter plus 2 meter is 4 meter. But again, that 4 meters, when she's trying to tie, again it is falling short by 2 fingers. Lord Krishna, the supreme mystic, does not need to increase his body as Vamandev. Even without increasing his body as Vamandev, even remaining in the small baby-like form, he can do unlimited pastimes. So it is said that the gopis saw, they also got amused, and they also brought the ropes from all their houses. Ultimately, when all the ropes got over, the ropes which were used for tying the cows, that also was taken out. All the ropes in Gokul were tied together, but still they could not tie the belly of the small baby Krishna, which was not bigger than the fist of Mother Yashoda. The rope was always falling 2 fingers short. The Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and others explain that these 2 fingers, they represent something very, very important, which is again the internal meaning or the internal significance of Deepavali. In order to experience Krishna, in order to have Krishna Anubhuti, in order to understand Krishna's mood and Krishna's mind, 2 things are very important. Number 1, selfless spiritual endeavor should be there from our side. Mother Yashoda was not trying to bind Krishna to punish him. During the chase, Lord Krishna was saying that I will run away to the forest and I will never come back. Then Mother Yashoda was thinking that if my child runs away to the forest, how will I feed him? How will I serve him? He is the bliss of everybody in Gokul. Everybody will die without him. So just to keep him in the house and not to teach him a lesson, just to keep him in the house, she wanted to tie him. So with that spiritual endeavor, Mother Yashoda was trying to tie Lord Krishna. So the first finger represents the spiritual selfless endeavor from the side of the devotee. And the second finger represents the will of the Supreme Lord. The 2 things have to happen. The pure devotee, under the guidance of the previous acharyas, has to try to render selfless, pure endeavor, pure devotional, selfless service to the Lord. And the Lord also needs to be willing enough to give his mercy. So when Lord Krishna saw the heartfelt endeavor of Mother Yashoda, he agreed to be bound by Mother Yashoda. So that is the significance of the entire Damodar Leela. That also happened on the day of Deepavali. So this also results in the same principle. The internal significance of Deepavali is to offer genuine, sincere offering of our heart to Lord Krishna and allow Lord Krishna and his devotees to enter it. So in this way, Mother Yashoda showed everybody that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be conquered by love, pure love, selfless love. So this is another significance of Deepavali. After Deepavali, which is the Amavasya day, the next day after Deepavali, which is the 4th day of Deepavali celebration, is the Govardhan Puja. And this also is very well documented in Srimad Bhagavatam, where to teach his devotee Indra a lesson and to mesmerize everybody in Vrindavan in all the 5 rasas of bhakti, in order to taste all the 5 mellows of bhakti, and in order to satisfy everybody's desire to have 24/7 association with Krishna, Krishna did this Govardhan Leela, where he lifted the Govardhan to protect his devotees. So that happens on the 4th day. Generally, people continue their Deepavali celebration on this day also. Very nicely in all the ISKCON temples and also in Vrindavan and in all the other places. They make a Govardhan and then they circumambulate it Everybody blissfully hears again and again and again the pastimes of Krishna as Govardhan. So many teachings we derive from the Govardhan Leela. The Nanda Krishna Samvad, where Lord Krishna is trying to establish how it is important to worship only Krishna and not the demigods. And then later on in the Govardhan Leela, how Krishna is signifying that if somebody takes shelter of Krishna and is dependent on Krishna exclusively, then for their protection, Krishna can lift the Govardhan also. That's why he's called as Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari. So if we also become sincere, serious servants of Krishna, exclusively dependent on Krishna, natural devotees of Krishna, then Krishna will protect us also. In fact, he is protecting us, he is maintaining us. And this is the whole innocence and sweetness of the process of bhakti. Anybody, whether he is from whatever caste, creed, gender, etc., anybody who takes shelter of Lord Krishna will be protected by Krishna and maintained by Krishna. All that which is needed is man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi satyamte pratijani priyosini. Krishna is inviting everybody into his arena of partiality, and he is very impartial in allowing everybody to enter his arena of partiality. He is telling, just become my devotee. Always think of me, remember me, offer obeisances to me. And then I will give you abhayam, materially and spiritually, for the rest of eternity. And then when we realize this, and when we offer our existence to Krishna in a very sincere, humble, and a grateful way, that is the internal significance of Deepavali. And then finally, the fifth day celebration of Deepavali is the Bhai Dooj festival, which is very nicely celebrated on the Vishram Ghat also. So Vishram Ghat was the place where Lord Krishna rested for some time after killing Dantavakra. Vishram Ghat is also the place where Lord Chaitanya, when he was on his Vrindavan Parikrama, he also sat down there and had discussions on the Vishram Ghat. So the scriptures say that one of the Mahajans, whose name is Yamaraj, mentioned in Bhagavatam, one of the confidential servants of Krishna, visited his sister Yamuna, who is one of the most confidential servants of Krishna. And then Mother Yamuna served her brother Yamaraj very, very nicely. And they were both in the land of Vrindavan on the Vishram Ghat. Yamaraj knows the heart of Krishna, understands the heart of Krishna. Just like on the days of Ekadashi, irrespective of what kind of sinful background we have, if we do even a little bit of devotional service, today is Ekadashi, by the way. Happy Rama Ekadashi to all of you. Anybody who does little bit of seva, japa, tapa, vrata on the day of Ekadashi, Krishna makes that as an excuse to relieve them from all sinful existence. And if they continue to do this Ekadashi, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and reading Srila Prabhupada books, Krishna gifts them freedom from the propensity to commit sins also. So Yamaraj, meditating on this supreme merciful nature of Krishna, gave a benediction to Mother Yamuna, another excuse in which people can be freed from the clutches of the laws of material nature and the clutches of Yamaraj. He said that anybody on the day of Bhai Dooj, along with your sister, if they have bath in the Yamuna, remembering the pastimes of Krishna, just like Lord Krishna chased Kaliya out of Yamuna, simply by remembering the pastimes of Lord Krishna on the day of Bhai Dooj, if along with their sisters, if they have bath in Yamuna, then for the rest of eternity, Yamaraj will never judge them. That means it is another, system where Yamaraj is trying to instill devotional service into the hearts of people. And that whole festival is called as Bhai Dooj. So even till date, we see young and old brothers and sisters holding hands of each other and dipping into the Yamuna on the day of Bhai Dooj. That is the fifth day celebration of Deepavali. Even when you go all around India, especially in Udupi or even to Guruvayur, they light so many lamps on the day of Deepavali. Deepavali is not just meant for merrymaking, eating nice food, wearing nice clothes, and doing a lot of shopping and going for a movie. Deepavali is meant to meditate upon how I can drive away the darkness from the core of my heart. The darkness which has come in because of ignoring Krishna, the darkness which has come in because of not listening to Krishna, the darkness which has come in because of not loving Krishna but loving something else. As I told earlier, people of Ayodhya were very clear that the miseries of their life is due to the absence of Lord Ram. But people like me, we cannot realize this. We think that the bereavement which I'm having in my life can be fulfilled by pursuit of wealth, by pursuit of beauty, by pursuit of name and fame. If we can kindly remove these ignorant pursuits and just dedicate our life for Brahma Jigyasa, then that will be a significant offering from our side on the day of Deepavali. In the holy temple of Guruvayur, in the holy temple of Udupi, they make very nice offerings. Even in the Jagannath Puri temple, there are millions of lamps. And even during the night time, it takes maybe hours together to light those lamps. And there are so many pilgrims on the day of Deepavali in Jagannath Puri temple that the whole Jagannath Puri temple is lit up with lamps. And everybody sits in the courtyard of the Jagannath Puri temple, either inside or outside. Inside taking darshan of Jagannath, outside taking darshan of Jagannath through the Sudarshan Chakra. And the Jagannath Katha continues. The chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra continues. And in that way, they feel that, yes, today I'm offering my life, my family, my wealth, my entire existence to Jagannath, my entire existence to Lord Ram, and my entire existence to Sri Damodar. So this is the internal significance of Deepavali. So with this, I would like to conclude my discussions. We have 5 minutes time. If anybody has any questions, comments, they are welcome. You can raise your hand and then we can unmute you. You can ask questions. Yes, Niladri Shekhar, you can ask your question.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I would like to ask that, as you have said earlier, that worshipping Kali is not that of a, it's not like a gentleman who is never there who worships Kali. So in Bengal we have Ramakrishna Paramahansa Dev who actually worshipped Kali, and he did his own way, you know, he was in his own way devoting Kali. So can we say that he was not a gentleman?
See, this is a very, very, what can I say, very, very sentimental topic to answer. I have just quoted the Srimad Bhagavatam, the scriptures. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says people worship according to their faith. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitrvata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti yajino apimam. Some people worship Krishna and they go to Krishna lok. Some people worship bhutas and pretas and bhutganas and they take birth among such beings. Some people worship demigods such as Indra, Chandra, Durga, Kali, etc. And then they take birth on their planets. But our principle is whether you take birth in Brahmaloka, which is the topmost material planet, or whether you go to Patal Loka, there is birth, death, old age, and disease everywhere. If we actually want to experience happiness, it is only possible in devotional service to Krishna. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada always recommended that one should not be attracted by the flowery words of the Vedas and be attracted to end up in other planetary systems except Golok Vrindavan or Krishna Loka. The scriptures also say that there are two kinds of people. Vishnu Bhakt Bhaved Deva Asurim Tadviparyaya. Those who are devotees of Krishna or Vishnu, they can be considered as devatas. And those who are not worshippers, or rather exclusive worshippers of Vishnu and Krishna, they ultimately fall not in the category of demigods or devatas. In fact, the Bhagavatam is very strictly saying that they are demons. That is why we always see that all the people who worship other demigods, whether it is Brahma or Lord Shiva, all those who have got benedictions from such devatas, even for that matter, Durga, Kali, and even Saraswati, they have tried to misuse the benedictions. But there is no example in the entire Vedic literature that somebody has got a benediction from Krishna, Vishnu, and has misused it. So, this in itself is the proof that bhakti means Krishna bhakti. And Prabhupada very strictly says that Kirtan means Krishna Kirtan. There is no such thing as Kali Kirtan or Durga Kirtan or Ganesh Kirtan. No. The Bhagavad Gita is very clear about it. But those whose intelligence is stolen away by material desires, they surrender to the demigods, not understanding that the fruits which they will receive from the demigods is also temporary. And it is a custom, it's a custom. Some worship is in the mode of goodness, some worship is in the mode of passion, some worship is in the mode of ignorance. And the scriptures say that worshipping the Bhadra Kali or the very Chanda form of Kali, it was traditionally done by dacoits. The dacoits, before going for looting, they used to worship Kali and go. Sometimes they used to give
Yes,
offerings.
that's
In the Bhagavatam, there is mention how they were going to offer a pure devotee called Bharat. And Mother Kali did not like her own devotees' activities. Mother Kali didn't like that. So she came out and she killed her own devotees just to save a pure devotee of Krishna, Bharat. So that is the same thing which I'm trying to say here. I don't want to comment on various worshippers of Mother Kali, who's right, who's wrong. I'm just representing the version of Bhagavad Gita to you. Thank you.
thank you very
Barnali Mataji, we have only 2 minutes. You can ask your question.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Yes, Prabhuji. My family is Shakta family. Father's side, mother's side is Vaishnav. So I know, Prabhuji, that very bad happened in my family. The whole family with their only descendant, male is a descendant. Na? His life also got destroyed. But being Kali, doing Kali Bhakti didn't help us much. Only my mother's daughters are in good condition in life only. That is what I am saying. We can do, Sanatan Dharma says that we can practice any religion, but Krishna Bhakti is the supreme. And if you need to live, I understand that, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. It is, see, Deepavali Day is meant for remembering Lord Ram's return to Ayodhya in the ecstatic company of Bharata. Deepavali Day is meant for meditating on the pastimes of Lord Damodar. Deepavali Day is meant for Brahma Jigyasa. Deepavali Day is meant for offering genuine, sincere, loving devotional service, sincere offering of our heart, and welcoming the Lord and his devotees in our life. This is the internal significance of Deepavali. If somebody thinks that Deepavali is meant for gambling, or Deepavali is meant for shopping on Amazon, or Deepavali is meant for meat eating, Deepavali is meant for intoxication, or Deepavali is meant for worshipping demigods in the mode of ignorance, passion, or goodness, the only thing which I can say is that it is very unfortunate. My question to all those people who on the day of Deepavali are not remembering Lord Damodar, not remembering Lord Ram, my question to them is that what is missing in Lord Ram? Or what is missing in Lord Krishna? When they are the supreme personalities of Godhead, and when we will achieve true complete satisfaction of heart only by serving them and only by worshipping them. And why don't we take to this process? So this is the internal significance, significance of Deepavali. We wanted to discuss this and help us in preparing our consciousness. Let not our Deepavali be passed away in merrymaking and enjoyment. Let it be a festival of introspection. Let it be a festival of meditation on the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. Let it be a divine engagement of the divine servants of the Lord in the service of the divine. So with that, we would like to conclude today's discussion. Thank you very much for participating. I wish all of you a very, very happy Dhanteras a very happy Naraka Chaturdashi, a very happy Deepavali, a very happy Govardhan Puja, and also a very happy Bhai Dooj. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.